Welcome to the CodPast podcast, where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. With Dr. Deborah, Laura, and Dr. Trish.
That's it. Awesome. Now we've got a double recording.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I'm sorry we're a little bit late. We're getting back into the stream of things.
Oh, I like that.
And
I like
the
that.
flow of life as we're little codfish floating along. And I've been really into cod this last couple of weeks because I've been watching two shows that I highly recommend. They're so fascinating. One is The Chosen, but before you watch that, you watch Jonathan and Jesus, because it's the back end of the story, and it's phenomenal footage, phenomenal pictures, like Deborah's background, and fun to watch. But who has the fishy jokes? Oh, there's your cat.
We
got a new cat that likes Zoom.
Hi, Gloopy. Hi, Gloop. So
Laura had a cat that used to come.
This is a fishy joke that is quite the pondering joke. Why do fish live in salt water?
To freshen up.
Oh, that's good. We don't know.
Because pepper water makes them sneeze.
That's cute. I like it.
And this one's for Tom. Where do the fish sleep?
Heaven.
That's a good one. In a waterbed.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Your little cat is just sitting.
Look at him. It's like he has decided he's taking over today. He's been on every meeting. This is unusual for him. Something's happening energetically where
he likes where you're sitting.
He's like, I am here. I want to be on your meetings.
What's his name?
His name, well, he came to us by the name of Gideon, but I don't think we've ever called him Gideon. Liam nicknamed him Gloopy, and I call him Buddy Boo. So he's so interesting. He's so interesting. I'm so glad he's
so funny. Every time we did Zoom before, your other little kitty, she used to, I swear she liked my voice, because she would come right in, and every time I was at your house, she'd come right up, and yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah. And this could be, I've been doing a lot of energy work this week for myself, clearing and getting clearer, and I feel like he's around more. I really have a more peaceful sense of being. And I feel like he's picked up on that. So it's been hard work, but it's certainly been worthwhile.
Yeah, I think that cats, above any animals that I've ever seen, really edify high energy, high frequency. And I obviously I work on that part of my life every single day, is how to get our frequency up. And laughter trumps everything. And good friends are longevity. Like, you can do everything else wrong, but if you have a really tight bunch of friends that are helpful to you and get you to go a little bit higher, your life will always get better. I mean, if you get around friends that always pull you down or make you feel sad, that's not a good idea. But I thought today we kind of went over. So we're doing a 4-part series on Tom.
Hello, Tom. We've already said hello earlier, but hello, our guest, Tom.
It's good to see you. I had one quick question. So, what did the magician say to the fisherman? The magician
What did the magician say to the fisherman?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm thinking cut bait. Let's see.
Abracadabra?
No, he said penny cod. Penny cod.
Very good. I love it.
That's cute. That's good. All right.
That's really good.
All right. Maybe Laura will hire you onto one of her sets. I don't know.
My one-woman show with one man.
So Tom is we're both together kind of approaching this whole idea of what it is to go through brain cancer. And I think he's just really open and willing to learn through this and to let us play with him and kind of poke him and jab him more than he's already been poked and jabbed, having gone through this. And we kind of talked about his background, his professional baseball background last week, and kind of what sort of may have led up to this. And we talked a little bit about what happened in the beginning. We're going to go a little deeper into what it is and sort of what came up to that. And then next week, I'm going to put together like a little slideshow or something of pictures that I have of Tom when we first met, and then a couple of weeks before he was diagnosed, and then what happened when he was diagnosed, and then his surgery and the hospital and all that, because it's really pretty fascinating. You know, if you've never been through anything that horrendous, it's sort of interesting to just be interested about it, like it's an adventure that's being unfolded right in front of you. And I think anything that we can do and dispel fear together is good, is good. And I don't think any of us would doubt that the worst thing we could ever hear would be that we have brain cancer, because who wants to have anything but that, right? Not that. And so then what happens, it's kind of like the best case scenario, worst case scenario. And if you're kind of prepared for each one, and then you put your vision and your request to God, hey, this is the one I really want, you're kind of in good shape because you don't have anything to fear, I think. Maybe, right? You haven't been in fear with this, really. Right?
Not really.
Even at the beginning, even when you had the first slurring word.
Well, that would be the most frankly that happened in the very beginning, because you wake up and you can't talk. That's scary. And when they say, "Hey, you call 911," and they say, "Oh, you're on hold." That's scary.
Yeah, Tom, you're breaking up again, so we have to figure this out. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So I was just saying that when I woke up and I couldn't talk, it scared me when the 911 people said, "Oh, you're finished the recording. We'll get back to you as soon as we can." And you're like, I can't go. I can't wait for like.
He was on hold for half an hour on 911. That was the scariest thing that happened.
That was a hard.
Wow.
Really
and just an FYI about that, you guys, cities across the nation are having that happen, and it's because people are using it for really stupid things, like how do you unplug a dishwasher? I mean, they're using it like Google or something, and it's just jamming up the lines, and the number of emergencies have gone up. So lots of people are having emergency kind of situations. So you don't ever want to hear 911 tell you to hold. It's like awful. And they're trying to deal with it. Phoenix is one of the worst places. And they're doing lots of things to try to deal with it. But so far it hasn't, anyway.
But I was just going to say real quick that was the first 10 minutes of the whole thing, getting figure out what was happening was the scariest part. And everything after that was whatever they put in your hand, whatever they want you to do, that's what you gotta do, save your life. So
and I think he put his game hat on in that moment and just said that, like, whatever I have to do, I have to do. And he has an analogy that I like that is about having a baby. You are, maybe if you're a mom, if you're a woman, you have 9 months to think about it, 9 months to kind of prepare. But really and truly, I remember going, I don't know what this thing is. It could be a basketball. And if it comes out like a basketball, I'm still going to really appreciate it, because you kind of fall in love with your belly and that little bouncing thing on the inside for 9 months. But the day you have it, you go, what the heck am I going to do with this thing? Like, I don't know what to do with it. And it's totally dependent on me. And he talks about that a lot. And I just love the analogy of, you're not going to give it back. If people would act like that with animals, right? This is mine. I got to deal with it. I'm not going to give it back. With marriages, if you said, this is mine, I'm not going to give it back, what am I going to do? And if we took that kind of committed approach to many, many things in our life, actually they'd work out. They'd work out better than if you fight and go, I got to figure this out. I got to get away from it. What am I going to do? Because none of us would ever do that with our child, right? So anyway, it started this crazy, crazy life that all of a sudden just smacked us in the face. And there were a few minutes I thought, oh, I need to run away. Especially, I didn't know where he was for 4 days, and it was very hard on me. And I know I called you guys a lot, like, what the heck am I supposed to do? How do I do this? And then when I found out what happened, then I was kind of like, should I run away? Because we weren't spending every day together. We were seeing each other, a few times a week or something like that. But there was that moment where I could say, well, this is not my responsibility. Like, I'm out of here. This is too much. And I hate to say this, sadly, but more men do that, actually.
What do you mean?
Run away. Whether they're wife or girlfriend or whatever, men will be just like, oh, I can't handle this. I got to go. And but women tend to stay, no matter what position they're in. So, but anyway, we found that out in October. And October 13th, he had brain surgery that lasted 10 hours. And then we talked a little bit about that at the last meeting. And then he was diagnosed with glioblastoma and put on a very, very heavy set of chemicals that were trial chemicals, their experiment, and then radiation, very heavy radiation. And so I think we could talk about glioblastoma as we know it, like right this minute, between all four of us, and also what does the public think about it, and then sort of maybe what were some of the things that Tom may have done that could have fed into it, maybe. So does that sound good?
It does. I actually think, because I really know nothing about it other than I know that it's very serious. I know that people are generally considered to not survive it. But, I think about your past, Tom, of being a ball player, and you don't give up. So you apply that. What I see is you're applying your life principles and everything that served you to this problem, to the situation that you find yourself in. You're in a situation and you're fully engaged in it, and you're living your best life with it. So maybe if you could tell us about that first, and then I'll let them get into the medical stuff, because I don't know about that.
Yeah, me either. I'm not sure what the added part, but yeah, I think that I think well, I don't know how far back you want to do. I don't know how far you want to get back, but when my dad, when my left and I was the first of 6 kids, my mom actually said, hey, Tommy, you're 11 year. I was 17, and she threw my stuff out of out of the house, like into the yard, and said, "Here we go." And I went, like, "Where do you want me to go?" And she said, "Well, you got to go somewhere because I have 5 more just like you." I went, "Oh, okay." So I found a couple friends, went to the UofA. I just went down and said, "Hey, you guys have like a loan or something that you could do to help me, whatever." That happened, and then I started. It was really my 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 journey. Um, Really, when I got him, it was really hard to let my mom go, because knowing, my income and she was a server at a restaurant, and that's all we had to do. You know what I mean? There was no other choice. So finally, when my brother, he got he was 2 years behind me, so then he helped her out, and I went to college and whatever. But it's just how people get how um when like, I remember still not understanding, like, why I got kicked out, I got kicked out. And then when I finally turned, I think it's 21, I went, now I got it. And it made me turn around to not, I love my mom. I like, how do you say it? It's, I appreciated her more when I turned, um, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you, Sonny. So when I turned 21, I thought, oh, now I see what she's doing, and made me love her even more. How she kept, providing for us. I thought, all right, it is time to really just go find life. So had a couple of baseball friends, and we went to go to college and stuff, and you just had to start your journey. My other 2 friends were working in restaurants. Little do you know that the things you are doing when you're, 17, 18, 19, right in there, it does, it does, it kind of tells you where am I gonna where you want to go, where you don't want to go. Like, I loved where my friends were, in the restaurant business, and so that were my new friends. And my friend Gordy, he was a manager at the time, and he said, "Hey, you're a pretty good server. Why don't you be a manager like me?" And I said, "No, I want to do that, Gordy, because I make money. I make more money with you, and I can get out of here, and you have to throw those at the restaurant." But we have became really good friends, and it's weird how your your focus in life is. Again, I hate to backtrack, but I know that the in high in high school, a counselor said, What are you going to do when you grow up?" And I went, "I don't know. I'm 16. Like, what do you mean get up?" but but your path is definitely, like, if I knew so much, if I knew, how I was going to be, not that I would uh, always be on the right path, but I knew there was a path for me somewhere out there that's a really good path, not evil, being in a sea in
Well, what we've talked about, I mean, we're all people of faith. And so we go back to Einstein or Tesla and we say, we either believe God's for us or that we just have to trudge through the universe on our own. And it's just easier for us to believe that everything works in our best interest. And even if it looks really, really bad, it's going to be okay. And I think Tom learned that a little bit the hard way because
And early in life.
early,
So,
yeah, yeah,
to be 17 and to have to make those big decisions, but
Right.
end up going to college,
yeah.
that's something. I mean, I got my daughter breakfast in bed every morning till she graduated high school, but that was our
Wow.
time together, but still it's a different time. And I think it has to do with resilience. It also has to do with his, like you said, you didn't want to go a wrong way. You didn't want to get in
Right.
trouble.
Right.
I'm not going to go work for a gang or whatever to make money.
Yeah.
You wanted to make a life that
That's
was,
right.
better for you. So, but
Right.
that's quite remarkable at 17, even though you're a man or
Yeah.
that's not easy to do at 17 to be like by, that's those feelings of like, oh my God, those were real.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
Well, this is really interesting, but what I think everybody kind of generally knows that cancer is just kind of out of whack cells that start doubling and tripling, and nobody kind of knows why. And glioblastoma is even, I think, more fascinating because I think it's actually telling us something. Glioblastoma doesn't like to die. The cells will do everything to stay alive. And so they're some of the only cancers that grow their own blood vessels to keep themselves alive no matter what is around them. So on the other cells, and there's a lot of focus on what are these cells and could some property about them be property in all of our cells, because we all know our cells replace themselves all the time. So our body does regenerate. And uh, there's a lot of studies right now on longevity and how people live to be in, over 100 and still working out in the fields and all of that. And when I read that about glioblastoma, that they just don't want to die. These cells, they buddy up together and they create their own system so that they protect each other from dying. And that one thing is why they don't go away. And when we first talked to the doctors, they said, "Oh yeah, glioblastoma never dies, never goes away." And one of the doctors said, when I said, "Well, while you guys are at war trying to kill the cancer cells, I'm going to be out there trying to clean up the battlefield and make it pretty again." And so their approach was, do the chemotherapy, do the radiation. Then my approach was beef up his body, give him more healthy things, make him laugh, get rid of some of his extra weight, exercise, drink a lot of water, and so mine was, how do we get his frequency up, right? What are all the things we can do to get his frequency up? Because I, as a metaphysician and studying frequency medicine, I know that cancer loves being at about 50 hertz. So if it can pull your body down at a consistent level, that you're running at about 50 hertz for most of the days and most of the time in the day, then it starts to support cancer growth. And his doctor said, "Well, could we look at this a different way?" And I just love this because this is really how I look at things. But she had to point out to me, we weren't at war in Tom's body. So Tom, she said, when you met Tom, he had cancer, but you didn't know it. You just thought that was Tom. And she said, then we found this cancer and we said, "Oh, he's got cancer." She goes, "It's still what we know and love and care about Tom. He's like the whole thing." So we're going to learn from this cancer and we're going to make it better, and we're going to absorb it back into the higher version of Tom. And it's just all the same thing. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And so what it started making me think about is just the metaphor that we live in and day out, evil versus good, men versus women, happy versus sad. And instead of looking at this glorious world that we live in, that God made everything perfect, and that there's stuff that goes on that is not exactly perfect, but are we fighting against that and keeping ourselves lower, or are we just constantly trying to elevate and pull this thing up there? And for me, it's been a great bunch of lessons. I mean, we're on a major road of learning about how do you look at things without putting yourself against them, and just going, how can I pull myself up? And this last month, I know we're all on this journey right now, but because we had so many things to have to just deal with right in front of our faces, we've kind of put ourselves on what Euquala said this morning. What did he say? DTE or something like that? Determine even more. Remember that?
I don't know.
I have to think about what Euquala called me this morning, or have a supine guru, and he said we have to all because I said DTE, double the effort, because I told Euquala that we went to be with his doctors this week and look at the MRI as a result of the end of the radiation and the chemotherapy cycle that we were on, that was months long. And it was a heavy duty cycle because it was every single day down at the hospital. And Tom, who had claustrophobia, had to wear this mask that literally had to be locked down, which I'll show you pictures of next week. And
Wow.
and he had to get over his claustrophobia for having his head locked in position every time they did the radiation, with this mask covering his face, if you can imagine that. And he got through it. So this week we found out that his tumor has shrunk, but it's not gone. And so his doctor was like, yeah, well, we're super happy, because a lot of the people that we see, it doesn't change at all or grows or whatever. And this one got smaller. So we're really happy. And we both looked at each other like, we thought it was going to be gone. And this was such an important message. She said, it's never going to be gone, you guys. And we looked at each other and we went, is that right? Well, it wasn't there when he was 20. Why does it have to be there now, right? So when we came out, we had a long talk about that. And he just said, I just have to up my effort, that's all. And it was kind of his attitude about being in the batting cage, where he was determined he was going to be able to hit as well on the left side as he could on the right. And he just kept batting, fully dressed, ready to be out in the field with his baseball uniform, in the batting cage, getting his hands bloody, getting his hands blistered, and just hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. Meanwhile, his friends are out partying, they're out having fun with pizza. And he's like, no, I'm going to stay in the batting cage, because he just decided to DTE, double the effort. And so Tom said, Trish, I know I wasn't doing everything I could have done on the positive side, on the healing side. And he said, I'm just going to do more now. And the doctor said, I want to put you through chemotherapy again, not radiation this time. And he can do it at the house instead of having to go to the hospital. But he goes, yeah, I'm just doing it. So we're just going to give it more effort.
And I think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
I was just yakking.
I think that is now getting back to that mindset that you have, Tom, that's like, okay, I'm just going to keep batting this, right? Like left and right. I'm just going to keep batting it.
Right.
And I think, there are some people, maybe not our audience, but there are some people in the world. I think we've heard this, Trish, with the unicorn. So a lot of people will throw, well, that's delusional. Well, you know what? And maybe it is, but it's you're providing your own hope and faith to your life, which is what you should be doing. You're taking as much action to take care of yourself. I remember when we interviewed Tim Henriquez, he's like, I teach people how to eat healthy and everything. He said it's not a guarantee to keep you healthy forever, but it's shoring up. It's hedging your bets. It's helping those hits. And so I think bravo to you, Tom, because you're teaching other people, just fight for your life and your quality of life to up your game. So
well, and don't take no for an answer. And
no for an
Tom
answer.
is famous for not doing what he's told. And
Hey, wait a second. I'm still here. I can hear you.
Hey, well, on that note, both those notes, so, Tom, can you kind of describe, since you have, let's say, cleaned up your health lifestyle, where you're really focusing on the health of your body? I know that you've been doing some things differently. How is that feeling? Like literally, how is that feeling in your body to be doing all these healthy things every single day?
Yeah. It's a work in progress for sure. Because I like in and out bird stuff, but when you get down to the first thing I heard really was with the exercise surgery. I mean, everybody, no, not everybody. The people, the first awakening was getting no more. Don't do any more sugar, and I thought, darn, you need to start with a different one. And I thought, oh man. But really, once you like sort of like hit the ball, when you get used to it, it gets easier. Even I don't know if I told you last visit, but I was a right-handed batter. I converted over to the left-handed batter too, and I could hit the ball way farther. But what's great now, it's like I never thought I would never even think in the beginning that I was good enough to be on the team, because I knew I was not a great hitter. But when you fast forward, you go like, really? That really didn't take that much. Just to practice and keep doing it. So, and then you're all of a sudden you're like, well, the weirdest thing is when you hit a home run, you don't even feel it. It's so weird, with that, with the better batters, they do this and that, and blah, 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 It's like unbelievable that the easiest thing to do, the coolest thing is when you hit a home run, you don't even feel it. That just it's like, how did that happen? It went so far, it didn't feel. The other, things you hit hard and you and wood perks, but when you hit a home run, you didn't feel it. It's like woohoo, the money around the base. It's just like.
So that's kind of interesting. That's interesting that you say when you hit a home run, you don't even feel it.
You
You're in your zone.
Yeah.
So
That's
my
it.
question would be,
That's it.
when people eat a lot of sugar or drink a lot of sugar, you feel like shit, right?
That's right.
And you don't even realize that you do. It's
Right.
like people drink a lot, and the next day they feel horrible. You don't even realize it because you're so used to it. You think that's just the way you feel.
Right.
So when you don't do that, do you feel like it's like you don't even feel it? So you're just not feeling crappy. You're feeling better.
You're feeling better, yeah. And
Yeah.
everything is better. Your posture, your thoughts, it's weird. It's the weirdest thing too. Like I drive around, with how I used to drive around is even different now because I'm more courteous. I think. Just like, can I, wow, was that me driving like that before?
Oh,
It's just,
sugar used to make you mean.
it made me, maybe still like, "Rawr."
Well, meat does. Meat
Yeah,
meat does. Sugar does too, but actually meat makes people aggressive. I have a whole feeling about why that is and some knowledge about it, but yeah, anything that you do that throws your chemicals off. Now, I haven't heard you say this, so this is very interesting to me that you have different thoughts and that you have
Yeah.
your different driving.
It really is.
But it's not surprising because he's almost not eating meat, a little bit, and we try to do salmon once a week or twice a week,
Tacos. Excuse me.
tacos, but not beef tacos. And we do like tacos, but fish or something.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't eat any sugar. He doesn't drink any alcohol, and so it has affected your feelings about.
Yeah, I think I'm hate to say, I feel like I am more a better person. Yeah, I'm more courteous, I think, than I used to be, maybe, or maybe call it, but
There you go. Well, when you think about it,
true,
if you're feeling not so good, you get a little bit of anxiety and you're not
right?
feeling your best. And it just makes such a difference when you're doing good things for yourself
Yeah,
that you're going to start being better to other people.
yeah, it
You know?
spills over. You're right. It's like, I always, with my mom, too bad she's not here. I mean, she's still here, but she's not
She's
here.
on the
But-
planet, but
yeah.
not in the room.
But it's like she brings you, she raised us to be very courteous, like he opens the door, open the door for the women, and just that shit always gets done us. And I think you're gonna be even better at it now because you just grow up, and when things like this happen, it's like you love life better, and whatever that means to people, but it just makes me look about. I know I can't do it, get the path done, but you sure can be a better person with other people. That's for sure. You would just, I don't know where that came from. You can just tell. But yeah, it's just
So with this new phase, there's a new
Yeah.
phase coming now.
yeah.
What is one thing that you're going to do to raise your vibration, to improve something? What is one thing that is on your mind that you should do that you're gonna do?
I like it.
Stay close.
The the like the wall she has, there is a sheet of paper that has all these vibrations and things. I know some of the ones I'm not going to do, that's for sure. But no death. No, I want to live. But I think that I want to be more, because I have a couple friends that are doing doing their surgery in the next months or so. And I just wanted, it will get me a better spirit by I want to be a better person to them and tell them, look, I'm not perfect, but this is, it's like you can still be like me. You don't give up on anything. I'll let you know when you can get up. But my friend Wayne Pitchak, he was one of my very best friends in Colorado. And I didn't want to, I said, because he's getting, what was it?
Prostate.
Prostate cancer. I thought, man, I got to talk to him because there's a lot more things that you can help people, even with your your problem too. And there's other people that are out there that need re, re,
Reassurance.
reassurance that you have a nice, like, like, the other,
Well, Keith Urban, I think I just read
Oh, that's
that
right.
Nicole Kidman's husband, who's a rock star, he has prostate cancer, but cancer is pretty prevalent right now. But what's even more prevalent is just emotional disturbances. It's just like a mess. I mean, people feeling hopeless, not connected, down and out, da 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 da. But if you really take a slice of each of those people's story, it's not a whole lot different than Tom's story. Because what brought Tom up to that day of facing cancer was all the stuff that the television tells us is a good idea, right?
Mm.
It's like partying with your friends, screaming and yelling at sports teams, eating In-N-Out. Well, it's not even just In-N-Out burgers. It's just plain old garbage that's chemically produced. Anything that's man-made, whether it's a Snickers bar or a, you know, even a fitness bar, if it's man-made produced, it's going to have chemicals in it that it's going to hurt you.
And
And
it's
society says, you know what? It's okay to numb yourself with this stuff.
right.
yes,
Right.
Food to numb
and they
yourself.
tell
You're
you're a what is it, like a not a like you're a not a just a gym fix. Wasn't he the guy that died at 42 and they make fun of him because he was exercising? But you know, it's like you're sacrificing yourself while living. But the truth is, you're not living at your highest vibration because that stuff brings you down. That sugar rush that we get addicted to does stuff to our pancreas, right? Like our whole body is trying to stay in homeostasis. So everything we put in it is asking it to balance more. And then over time, that creates problems. So if you just can keep even, it actually gives you a better lifestyle where you feel better. So people think it's sacrificing, like, oh, that person's a health nut. That's the word I was looking for. But it's really more than that. It's adding vibrancy to the life you have, to the day you have.
Well, even in your case, Laura, what we've talked about so many times is like feng shui. So what does the world say? Buy, 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 buy. You know, consumerism is just so ridiculous. And buying new and stuffing, you know, you've got one wall and you go, oh, there's a blank wall over there. I just need to fill it up. And we were all taught that stuff. It's like fill up your house to the brim. Make sure that you've got a closet the size of your bedroom, which I did have, and make sure that your closet is so chock full of stuff you can't get one more thing in there, which mine was. And, you know, make sure that you have 100 pair or more of shoes because that's what you're supposed to have as a girl. And you start to get consumed by your own consumption. And it's consumption of, I mean, consumption is alcohol too, right?
And that's also numbing when you
And
consume and consume. It raises your dopamine, like a quick hit, and then you keep getting too much dopamine and you can never get back to homeostasis. So it's almost like you need more dopamine, more dopamine, you know, watching social media, whatever it is, food, it's just a lot. So
addiction of any. My mom called me one day and said, Patricia, I cannot get rid of this headache. I've had a headache for like 2 weeks. And I said, Mom, I've been telling you for the last 900 years, clean out the top of all your closets. She had 4 bedrooms so full of stuff. And on the top of the closet, she had stuff squished in between stuff. And then in both of the attics, we had an attic outside and an attic in-house. It was stuffed full of stuff. I mean, she had every letter we ever wrote in, you know, in first grade. And my mom, of course, she came out of the Depression. She was a young child during that time. And I think that idea of holding on not letting go because you might not ever have it again or something, got into that group. And then, we're all emotional baggage from our past. And so we get the DNA baggage from our grandparents and our uncles and aunts and all that, because it's all hereditary to an extent, emotional molecules. And I said, Mom, please just take the stuff out of the top of the closets and give it away or throw it away or something. And she did. And she called me back and said, I don't have a headache. And my house feels lighter. And Laura, will you speak to that? Because you're the queen of having to be forced into feng shui.
I am the queen of that. And I made a comment about lighting a match with someone's house because I knew the state it was in and I knew I needed to clean it up. And then my house got matched. Not really. It was an electrical thing, but I lost everything in one fell swoop. And then there's the dealing
In
with
a
that.
fire that
was a
Deborah
fire.
was
Yeah, it was
with
a
her
fire.
in
that's right.
California. And they called me, and I was attached to Laura's house.
She was more attached to my stuff than I was.
Yeah, and they
Patty
called me,
said,
and I
yeah,
couldn't
Patty
breathe.
said the hardest thing was hearing me talk everybody else off the ledge for my fire, but Deborah was there with me. She had helped talk me off the edge. I mean, first of all, it's shocking, but a match took care of it all for me. I was more like your mom because I moved around so much and I was an only child. I hung on to things as if the energy were in that thing. But the truth is the energy's not in that thing. It's here and it becomes a burden for someone else. So it's like, but I do believe that you have to make things interesting in your own. You have to bring in your own little things. And I'm working on that in this. We sold that property and bought a new one. And this one is more zen and simple. So I'm learning still how to simplify. And it's a tough lesson for me because I like to add complexity. But the truth is living a simple life, eating simple foods is the best way, not being addicted to your next meal. Eat when you're hungry. We don't even know what it feels like to be hungry. We don't know. We're lucky, right?
Yeah,
So
we eat on a schedule instead of our body.
Right.
One thing Trish talked about this, how important community is to your vibration and your health. It's everything and connection with each other. And it just, warms my heart that when I asked Tom, what is one thing you're going to do? And he said, I'm going to improve my relationships. I'm going to work. I'm going to, what did you Koala say? I'm going to,
CTE.
I'm gonna
CTE, double
yeah,
the
I'm gonna double the effort with my relationships, and show up for my friends and show up for people because when you show up for people, they'll show up for you. So that was really cool that he didn't say, I'm gonna go get a boat and ride around the lake, and I'm gonna buy a house and all that. That's not what's important right now. And the best thing for your health would be that, right? Connection, and that's just wonderful.
I forgot the boat. I forgot to get the boat.
I don't know. I love boats, so
I love boats
love
too.
riding
your community will follow you. We'll come to Arizona and be on your boat.
One of
Yeah.
us has to have a boat around here because we, one of my favorite pictures.
I have a boat. You just come up to Michigan, you can
Okay.
ride in my boat.
Well, one of my favorite pictures that we have is when we took that boat off of
in
Santa Barbara.
Barbara.
Santa Barbara, right?
And we
took
saw
that boat.
we saw the walruses or the seals and they smelled so bad, but they looked so cute.
Yeah.
They
Wow.
stunk.
Yeah, that was a
No, they were
fun.
sea lions, those big
Sea lions, okay.
That was a really wonderful day, as we've had many and we will have many more. But guys, it's probably, we're maybe about 10 minutes short of being done. So we probably should wrap it up. And then next week, we'll go over the nitty gritty of kind of the picture sort of stuff of what Tom went through. And what I think I want to end this on, which is really incredible to me, is that we can learn something from glioblastoma, that these cells don't want to die. And so what's that message to all of us to stop killing yourself when you're still alive? Stop it. We all talk about the backdrop people that, they're dead by the time they're 20. They just didn't, have a funeral yet. And so, and it's just the truth is like, what's going to make you decide to live? When are you going to take responsibility for your own self-confidence, your own self-worth, your own self-discipline, and stop blaming everything on every single thing you can, your past, your friends, your schooling, your whatever it is. Just start making some decisions that actually make you want to live.
Yeah. And I think, Tom, you are the ultimate non-victim. You've taken every ball that's been thrown to you and you've just engaged in it. And I'm sure there were days when you didn't want to. I apologize.
Yeah.
But you always got back up and lived to the fullest. You just kept pushing through. And I think that's an inspiration and motivation to others. And it sounds to me too, the old way you used to do it was physicality, because that's one of the quickest ways to start to feel better is to, physically put your shoes on and go out and start hitting those balls.
Yeah. And get a boat.
And get a boat.
Did you
Get
see
a boat.
do you see what I'm putting in
Putting in the picture.
Oh yes,
San Diego, yeah.
San
That's
Diego.
where
San Diego
funny that
and
you've got
get
that
a
on,
boat.
because that's where we were when my house burned down.
Oh.
They're always
We were in San Diego, yeah.
Oh wow.
It's a beautiful place. So
It is.
Or a boat.
come to Michigan.
Okay.
We're surrounded by
I want
water,
I
and we'll
want to
go
go
out
to
on the
Michigan.
boat. We'll
Yeah,
go
I
on the boat.
want to do that. Let's just make it a deal. We'll have
Yeah,
a
we should
retreat.
do that again this summer. It's
My
usually
birthday, around my birthday, August 13th, you come out and we'll go out in the boat. It'll be beautiful. We'll
Very
do
cool.
lots of water stuff. It's cold water, but get used to it.
I put my ankles in it. It is cold water.
Wow.
Well, Wim Hof says it's a good idea to jump into ice. So,
Well, this isn't nice. This is
No, I don't know about that.
Laura's a sissy, so that's all there is to it.
I am. I like my water warm. I like it warmed by the Gulf Stream.
I
Well,
like
all right,
sitting in
so-
Rocky Point, Mexico, where it's bathtub water that I can see from my chest down to my toes walking.
Cool.
Well, that's good because you want to watch out for them sharks. I'll go to Rocky Point with you if you come to Michigan and
Okay.
all right.
Deal. All right, guys, this was fun and good, and I'm hoping that as this continues, that it really gives people a different perspective, especially on glioblastoma, which I think what we've been told is almost nobody takes the kind of path that Tom chose to take. And it always takes one person to go across the 4-minute mile, and then everybody does it. Now you're considered slow if you don't go 4-minute mile. And what he's done is not any rocket stuff. It's just a decision that you have to stick with. So it's self-discipline, and then that grows confidence, and then that grows all this other byproduct stuff. And we're documenting everything. The doctors are really excited about what they're working with Tom, and all the therapists and everything. They're learning about frequency medicine by these circumstances that we're working through too.
Before we go, Trish, can you just kind of list off, you don't have to remember everything, but list off some of the health things that you're doing, and with your everything, your lemon water, your megahertz, your 528, all that. What are some of the things that we're doing to raise Tom's vibration?
Oh, thanks, Deborah. Yesterday I was given such a sweet compliment. We go to the same breakfast restaurant all the time. It's kind of one of those sweet egg cafes, egg and cinnamon roll, which I want one, but I can only have one a couple of times a year. Anyway, one of the girls in there who had lost her son to a very oddball thing where his liver enzymes went sky high because he was taking a bunch of Tylenol. He was only like 15 and he died. And so she sat down with us. She was one of the waitresses, and she sat down with us about a month and a half ago, and she started crying, and she said that she had to have what is it? Where are gallstones located, Deborah? Women that
in your gallbladder.
and they can take that off, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Not ideal, but you can live with
I
it.
know. I didn't even want to hear that. I wanted to try to tell her she could do some other things to flush out her system, but you know, at some point you just have to let people go the road they're going. But anyway, she was telling us, I have to have this surgery. My liver enzymes are up. I'm afraid I'm going to die in surgery, and I've got all these kids at home, and I've got a husband. And she started crying, and I wanted to say, don't do the surgery. We can work on this, you know, with stones or whatever. But I just left that there. She was already scared. So I said, okay. And I have my card. And on the back of my card, I have a list of things that you could do. Whoops, like that.
Oh,
And basically, here's the list of stuff that is just the preliminary. We can get way deeper than this, but if you just do this, right? Absolutely get rid of fluoride, because fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. My personal belief, and I've got history and history and history of authors that have talked about the same thing, including Aristotle, and that is that your pineal gland is your antenna to God. And so it vibrates, it does something to raise your intuition. So
has
that
crystals in it, right? Little
it's
crystals.
got the most crystals of any place in your body. And I believe it is a transmitter. It transmits out and in, but that is the thing they calcified to get Jews to literally walk to their grave. And so fluoride is not a good thing. I'm going to argue it does not help your teeth. And if you don't believe me, look at the people from Africa who don't have any fluoride and look at their teeth compared to yours. So no fluoride. 1/2 of an organic lemon water every morning before you do anything, because when you ingest lemon water, it bypasses the digestive process if you haven't had anything to eat. Once you put something in your mouth to eat, then you're back to digestion, so it's different. But if you do this before, it'll go through your liver just like a sponge, and it cleans it out, because your liver works all night long to try to clean your body. And you know, that's how your blood shuts down, goes into your liver, tries to clean it out. All right, then no sugar at all. Organic food where you can.
Bread is sugar.
Yeah, that's a whole workshop, but bread in the United States is super dangerous because of a lot of things. Bread from Italy actually makes you lose weight, and I can explain why and how that metabolizes and everything on another workshop. But anyway, no sugar, and then eat organic. Canned food is 0 vibration. If you die at 12 megahertz, canned food is worse than death. So if you are vibrating at 50 hertz, which is cancer, if you start ingesting a whole bunch of canned food, it'll actually pull your frequency hertz down. So just don't eat it. Just don't eat it. Then 1 gallon of alchemy water every day. And what I say about alchemy is either filtered or it's
Alkaline.
alkaline. Thank you. Keep your body alkaline as much as you can. And that makes a petri dish kind of impossible for cancer to start growing in, and it makes your own cells thrive in higher frequency. So thanks for asking about that, Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, kids, and
All right, you guys.
all of I love everybody. Thank you
Bye,
for
Tom.
joining
Bye.
us.
Thank you,
Thank
Thank
Tom,
you
for
so
your
much,
time.
Tom.
That was fun. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
See you
Yeah.
next week.
Bye.
Bye.